Hello, my beautiful yellowbone, redbone, butter pecan, caramel, butterscotch, toffee, mocha, chocolate, cocoa exoticals. Welcome to the Pretty Girl Club. Welcome to the Exoticals United community. If you are new here, welcome. Here in the Exoticals United community, we support men and women from the following people groups: multiracials, biracials, multi-generationally mixed, and light-skinned golden people. Hey Exoticals! This is going to be an extremely unpopular video because I'm going to be talking about a very controversial topic, and that is decentering men. Women are socialized to center our entire lives around men. We're taught that our worthiness is in direct relation to whether men want you or not. Some women will literally promote being in a relationship with an abusive, lying, or cheating man so long as he has money or gives you a nice house to live in. Think about how many women you know who are in horrible or mediocre relationships with men because they just want to be able to say that they're married, or they want to be able to say that they have a man paying their bills, or to show people the bills that the man is paying. I'm not trying to throw shade at anyone in particular, but why does everything in our lives have to revolve around men? Even when I talk about pretty privilege on this channel, I still feel like I have to cater to talking about the male gaze or what men think of our beauty. Women have been so socialized to obsess over what men find attractive that men feel comfortable rating us on a scale of 1 to 10, and 1 to 10 has to do with how much men want you. So your entire worth is reduced to what a random guy thinks about your physical appearance. I've seen women diss other women based on their relationships with men. They'll say things like, "Well, you're the forever girlfriend," as if being a wife of a man is more validating because you are legally tied to him. Or they'll say, "You're just the side chick," as if being the side chick is not as valid as the main chick because the main chick gets more of the man's time and energy than the side one. No, how about we just stop all of this altogether and decenter men completely? I'm not trying to diss men or say that I hate men. No, just because you love yourself and you value yourself, that doesn't mean that you hate others. And it's funny how decentering men has become so controversial to the point where people literally think that it's about hatred. No, this is about preventing yourself from being abused. This is about actually having a sense of self-worth and self-esteem. And this is about not revolving your friendships and all of your leisure time around attracting a man or attracting this Prince Charming or some sort of romance that doesn't actually exist. Anyone who has been socialized as a woman knows that from the time you're a child, you are taught to idolize marriage. You are asked what you want to name your children. You are socialized to play with baby dolls. You're socialized to watch all of these Disney princess movies and romance movies. Maybe you grew up like me and you grew up reading books like 50 Shades of Grey or watching movies like Twilight. And you have all of these fantasies in your head of what a fulfilling life looks like as a woman. And I've noticed that a lot of times whenever you watch a movie, and they call these chick flicks, whenever you watch a chick flick, notice how it always revolves around a man. There is always a love interest in a chick flick. Anything that is marketed to women always has a man at the center of it. It could be anything from the damsel in distress storyline to the seductress storyline, and maybe they'll even throw a little bit of feminism in there. You know, they'll give you the Olivia Pope storyline, they'll give you the Being Mary Jane storyline about a woman with a career who revolves her life around a man. And I just feel like a part of having self-confidence is realizing that you don't need another person in order to feel whole and in order to feel valid. I'm not saying that relationships are bad. I'm not saying that marriage is bad and that good men don't exist. I'm just saying that you should have other things going for yourself in life and other hobbies in life other than, how can I do my makeup so I can attract a guy? How can I wear better clothes so I can attract a guy? How can I get in shape so I can attract a guy? How can I do my dating profile so I can attract a guy? What jobs can I get to attract a guy? Doing all of these things is what gives men the power to dangle marriage in front of your face like a carrot, to dangle children in front of your face like it's a carrot, and to use phrases like, "oh, you've hit the wall," or to make fun of you and make you feel less valid based on your physical appearance. I've noticed that a lot of men, they will use things like cheating as a way of trying to humble their women. As a matter of fact, I think that that's exactly what Jay-Z has done with Beyonce. It's totally a random example, but they come to mind when I think of this. I believe that he cheats on her so much as a form of humbling her because she's very confident, she's beautiful, she's talented, she has a lot of things going for herself. And I've noticed that a lot of men will take on these tactics. But Beyonce, unfortunately, she's an exotical who has such a pick me mindset, to the point where she is willing to stay with this man who, in my opinion, doesn't treat her in a way that she should be treated. However, that's her business. I know that some women, they don't care about being cheated on. There are women who can totally emotionally detach. Shira Seven is one of those women. There are women like her who can maybe stay with a man who has cheated on them, or a man who consistently lies to them, or a man that they're not in love with and they just want his money or whatever. And that's fine if that's what you want to do. That's none of my business. But for me personally, there are some things in life that I just can't do. Like, number one, I cannot sleep with a guy that I am physically repulsed by. Like, if I am not physically attracted to you, I am not sleeping with you at all. Like, that's just, no, I'm not doing that. That doesn't appeal to me. If I feel like a man is emotionally abusive or he treats me terribly, again, I personally can't sleep with a guy like that, or be in a relationship with a guy like that, or spend the next 80 or 90 years of my life revolving it around some man just so I can have what, a couple of extra $1,000 a month? If it's that serious to have a few extra $1,000 a month, you can start a business, start a YouTube channel. They have monetization on YouTube. You can make videos just like this and tell your story and help other women, and you can get paid for it. You can do DoorDash, you can do Uber Eats, you can get a job at a pizza place, for God's sakes. Why is our first resort to chase after a man or try to look to a man to save us? A man is not a plan. A man is not going to just come into your life and save you. A lot of you women have brothers and fathers and cousins and uncles who are men who are toxic, and you won't admit that to yourself because you love them. And I'm not saying that you can't love a man. There are some good men out there. It is possible to have a healthy relationship, but we shouldn't be so desperate to the point where we devalue ourselves or view other women as competition for attention, to the point where we are backstabbing one another or calling each other bitches and hoes, and, looking down on each other for being baby mamas or for being side chicks or whatever. Every woman makes mistakes. And so this is why on this channel, even though I may not participate in certain lifestyles, I try not to look down on women who are going through different stages in their lives, because I feel like all women have been affected by things like patriarchy and misogyny. I also have another very unpopular opinion. I see a lot of women talking about marriage to a high value man and like really aspiring to that. And my unpopular opinion is that a lot of women who are married are actually bragging about their relationships or lying about their relationships or seeking to uphold a particular image of their relationship, so that nobody knows that deep down inside they're not actually as fulfilled as they say they are. I've noticed that a lot of married women or a lot of mothers and a lot of housewives or women who are engaged tend to seek validation through things like having a wedding or talking about their husband 24/7, talking about how great their relationship is. And I guess I kind of feel like if your relationship is that great, you don't have to film every moment of it. You don't have to post every moment of it. You don't have to talk about it 24/7. You don't have to promote it to everybody around you. I actually feel like a lot of women who are in these long-term, emotionally codependent types of relationships are just trying to uphold a false image because they know that deep down inside they spent their whole lives chasing after something that wasn't actually real. They were chasing after this Disney princess, long-term, monogamous, loyal, and faithful love, and then they finally got the man. They got this quote-unquote Prince Charming guy, and they married him, and then they realized within the marriage, behind closed doors, oh wait, he's addicted to pornography. Oh wait, he's still flirting with his ex. Oh, he's texting other women. Oh my God, he's still on dating apps. But instead of dumping that guy, a lot of women are so afraid to be alone, or they're so afraid to be unloved, to the point where they will actually stay in these relationships and they'll make all these excuses for the man. They'll say, oh, well, all men make mistakes, all men cheat, or, other than that, he's a good man. Or they'll say people change, so maybe he'll change over time. But I've noticed that We as women, we don't have the same energy with women. Like, you guys know this as exoticals. Like, when you are friends with other women, if you do one thing that gets on their nerves, they will ghost you. They'll cut you off. If you don't answer their text messages, or let's say you stand them up and you're supposed to hang out with them, they'll cut you off. Friends don't take their friends to friendship therapy and try to help them to unlearn 35 years of emotional damage and emotional trauma. Women don't do that with their friends. So why are we doing this with men? Why do we have a bar that is so low for the men in our lives, but the bar for other women is so much higher? We expect the women to be emotionally intelligent and thoughtful and kind and caring and supportive and not jealous. Meanwhile, we could have a whole boyfriend who is jealous of us, views us as competition, hates us, cheats on us, yells at us, screams at us, and then we'll stay with that guy. And then we'll even make YouTube videos or Instagram posts bragging about how, oh, I've been married for such and such amount of years. Oh, I've been in this relationship for 35 years. And it's like, sis, were you happy for those 35 years? Being in an unhappy or a mediocre at best relationship for decades on end, that is not a flex. Gaining 50 pounds because you're so stressed out trying to interact with your husband who won't even do the dishes, that is not a flex. I will take the single life with my cats over that lifestyle any day. And I'm not trying to throw shade on long-term relationships. I'm just saying that we as women should think about what we truly want in life. Do you want peace? Do you want happiness? Or do you want a man more than you want peace? Do you want a man more than you want happiness? Do you want a man more than you want self-esteem? Do you want a man more than you want your own dignity? Do you want a man more than you want loyalty and faithfulness? A lot of the women online who have these sugar baby, hypergamous YouTube channels, they'll talk about cheating men and then they'll just brush it off like, oh, well, all men cheat. Okay, well, I want loyalty in my life more than I want a man. So, I don't care if a guy is a trillionaire. I'm not staying with a cheater. I don't care if you have every single dollar on this earth. If you cheat on me or abuse me or you mistreat me or you cause me to have mental health issues, I am not staying with you. Because my own personal self-esteem would go down if I am in an environment where I'm being abused and devalued. That's just me personally. So for me personally, I value my self-esteem above a romantic relationship. I've noticed a lot of people pedestalize romantic relationships to the point where once they get a boyfriend or once they get a husband, they will completely drop all of their girlfriends. They will completely drop hanging out with anybody else. They may even change up their entire personality or their whole way that they dress or the way that they do their hair, because let's say they're dating a black man and he prefers a woman who has a certain hair texture. I've noticed that some women, they will change up their whole hair textures, hair colors. They'll get all these plastic surgeries and they will do all of this stuff to their body. And then you're telling me that this guy still wants to fuck other women. And he's still going to jack off to other women. And he is still statistically likely to cheat on you. And he is still statistically more likely to leave you if you get diagnosed with things like cancer or MS. But I'm supposed to dedicate my life to searching for a relationship like that? I'm supposed to center my life around this? I'm supposed to spend the next 80 years of my life only focusing on a guy? So you're telling me that my entire purpose on this earth is to get married, birth children, have my bills paid by a man, live in a house in the suburbs, and then die. So that's it. So I'm just supposed to wash dishes and change diapers and be a live-in sex worker for the rest of my life for a man who is still going to want to have sex with other women anyway, or a man who's still going to jack off to other women anyway? I'm supposed to live my life like that? That's supposed to be fulfilling? I'm supposed to be jealous of you, a woman who has dealt with that for decades? Oh, but you've been married 35 years and you're telling me you're happier than me? Sleeping in the bed next to a man who you're no longer attracted to, he's no longer attracted to you. He has voiced how much he wants to be with other women. He idolizes, Instagram models or whatever, or pornography pornography, or he's still chatting with other women and cheating on you, and I'm supposed to be jealous that you got abused for multiple decades or that you were devalued for multiple decades. It's the delusion for me. That is not how I want to receive my exotical tax. Just saying. And let me talk to my religious exoticals for a moment, because I was raised as a Christian. My father is actually a minister. I was raised in the church, okay? I've been to Baptist churches, Pentecostal churches, Word of Faith churches, non-denominational. Let me tell you, the church has some of the biggest pick-me's and some of the biggest misogynists I've ever seen in my life. And a lot of people in the church, they'll say, oh, well, just pray for your husband. There's power in being a praying wife. In fact, they'll even supply you with a whole bunch of emotional coping books, such as The Power of a Praying Wife, or, you just have to learn his love language, or you just have to cook for him more, clean for him more. You have to submit to him. You have to be a humble servant. In fact, I've even heard famous female preachers preaching to other women saying that marriage is not supposed to make you happy. Okay, so then what am I supposed to do with my life? Should I just revolve my whole life around being unhappy?
Hey everybody, and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Heather Lindsay, and today I'm talking about a very sensitive topic in an area that I feel like many people struggle with, and this is forgiveness in your marriage, especially if your marriage has been broken through adultery, through maybe some lying, maybe the trust has been broken. But if you refuse to forgive others, your Father will not forgive your sins. The Bible's clear that God won't forgive you unless you forgive the person that has hurt you. You've got to forgive your husband. You got to forgive him by faith sometimes. Amen.
Yeah, I'll pass. I don't want to spend the next 80 years of my life being unhappy. In fact, I've also seen some men over in some of the red pill spaces telling other men not to date a woman who prioritizes her happiness. Okay, well, you're basically implying that getting in a long-term relationship with a misogynistic type of guy is going to lead to unhappiness. In fact, I saw this video by this other girl here on YouTube. I can't remember her name, but if I find her name, I'll link it in the description. She was talking about how a lot of women in these marriages or relationships, situationships or whatever, they will be dealing with a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. I don't want to spend the next 80 years of my life dealing with a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. I'd rather just center my life around myself, not center my life around anybody else. I want to have that main character energy, okay? I'm a main character exotical. I would rather center my life around myself as opposed to centering my life around a man who is statistically more likely going to bring me a tolerable level of permanent unhappiness. I'm just saying this is something you should think about, ladies. When you start to decenter men, you are taking them off of the pedestal that you were putting them on, and you get to put yourself on that pedestal instead. And so you're no longer living your life for male validation or the male gaze, or living your life in desperation for a romantic relationship with a quote-unquote high-value unicorn man. You're no longer chasing after some multimillionaire guy or hoping that by you sitting at the bar by yourself that he'll come sweep you up off of your feet and then he'll love you forever and he's going to be loyal and faithful and he'll never look at any other woman other than you. You no longer live in that fantasy. And by the way, I'm not trying to be like a nihilistic here. I'm not trying to be negative or anything like that, because I am still personally capable of love. I love love. Don't get me wrong. But I do think that we should be very realistic about what we're dealing with today. There are women out there who only see worth in themselves if they have a boyfriend, or if they have a guy who's interested in them, or if they have a crush or some guy that they're hooking up with, or a sneaky link or a sugar daddy or whatever. Who are you without men? Seriously, think about this, exoticals. Who are you without men? If no man ever looked at you and told you you were beautiful, if no man ever catcalled you, or no man ever asked for your number or asked you to be his girlfriend, if you never got married, or if you never had a sugar daddy or a sneaky link or a bae or work bae, if you never had any of those things, who are you without that? Do you still have the same sense of self-worth and confidence about yourself? Because if not, I would argue that you potentially are centering men in your life. And I mean, hey, if you want to make men the center of your life, that's fine. But the male gaze is very fickle. So, first, it's in style and is viewed as sexy to be skinny. Then, it's more sexy to be curvy. And then you have to be tall. And then you have to be short and petite. And then you have to be black. And then, oh no, you have to be white. Oh no, you can't have any hair on your body. Oh, you have to have big boobs. Oh, wait, no, you have to have a big butt. Oh, actually, you have to be thick. Oh, wait, no, you have to be like super skinny with a thigh gap. The male gaze is fickle and it's very temporary. So if you live your life based on the male gaze alone, your happiness is only going to be temporary. And your happiness is always going to be up and down, like on this roller coaster type of thing. So is that really what you want? As a part of the Pretty Girl Club, I want you to remember that you are pretty not just based on the male gaze or whatever, because a lot of men, they'll just look at anything, they'll have sex with anything. I want you to feel like you are pretty because you have an inherent sense of worth and value. And if you believe in God, I want you to feel like you are pretty because you're created in God's image. It's not really worth it to spend your life trying to measure up to what a man thinks is sexy, what a man thinks is worth providing for, what a man thinks is worth having a sugar baby for. Because, again, men change all the time. Their gaze changes, the trends change. And I've noticed that the love that a lot of men have, it's not the same as the love that a woman will have, because a lot of women are socialized to be natural caregivers and nurturers, whereas a lot of men are socialized to be a lot more individualistic. Men know how to look past all of their emotions and all of their feelings and literally make the decision that benefits them the most in life. A lot of men, they can look past their entire family and children just so they can have a moment of pleasure with another woman. And then they'll have an affair, they'll go through an entire divorce because they chose their own happiness and their own pleasure above everything else. What happens if women begin to do the same? This is where you see that red pill rage coming from. It's because a lot of women are wising up and we're realizing, hey, we want to put our own happiness first. We want to do whatever the fuck we want. We can sleep with who we want, date who we want, not date who we want, have cats if we want, be celibate if we want, travel to another country and get another guy or something, or do whatever. So I'm just trying to encourage you ladies to do whatever you feel is best for you. If you think it's marriage, get married. If you think it's only having a boyfriend, then only have a boyfriend. If you think it's just something casual, like a hookup, okay, then do that. If you think it's just remaining celibate and single, do that. If you just want to date someone and you don't want to ever live with him, do that. If you are just looking to have a baby, if you like being a baby mama or you want to be a baby mama, that is your personal business. Who am I to judge you? In fact, statistics actually show that single mothers have more spare time than married mothers. And if I find that article, I'm going to link that down below because I thought that was very interesting. Because a lot of married women with children, they spend their time tending to both their husband and their kids. And I don't know if you guys saw that viral movement on TikTok where a lot of mothers are just fed up. And a lot of mothers are admitting to even being jealous of women who are childless, or they're jealous of women who are even single mothers. So that totally goes against the whole red pill narrative that we see online. And also, don't put your life on pause hoping that you can find a partner. I've seen a lot of women pass up on going to college or certain job opportunities, or they'll pass up on moving to whatever city they want to live in, all in the hopes that some guy will pick them. And I've seen it turn out horribly so many times. Don't do that. Don't put your life on pause for a man who potentially doesn't exist. And also, has anyone noticed that a lot of men are actually very good at maintaining a sense of identity, independent from their partner? So a lot of men, they will still go out with the bros, they'll still have their little sports bar or football nights, they will still play video games for 10 hours a day. But a lot of women, they will totally drop their hobbies, they'll totally drop all of their friends. Some women will even pick up and move across the country or across the world just to center her life around a man. And if you happen to be the unfortunate Barbara the Builder, then what happens once that man builds himself up on your back and then leaves you for yet another woman? Because once again, we all know that the male gaze is fickle and in many cases non monogamous. So, what happens when that man picks up and leaves you? I've noticed that a lot of women tend to make decisions based on fear of abandonment or fear of being unloved or fear of not feeling special, fear of not feeling like you are that Disney princess in the movie. And I get it. I was once a little girl too. Every girl wants to feel beautiful. Every girl wants to feel like a princess. But the key to feeling that way is making yourself feel that way. It's better to be born royalty than to spend your life chasing after marrying royalty. There are the women who seek to marry royalty, and then there are the women who know that they were born royalty. So, which one are you? Are you the princess? Are you the queen? Or are you the pauper who is chasing after the prince, hoping to go to the prince's ball, hoping to get his attention, doing your hair all pretty and getting your dress on so you can hope that he notices you amongst tens of thousands of other girls who are also hoping to be noticed? When you do that, you're putting the man in a position of power and dominance over you to the point where you are opening yourself up to be abused. So it's like, what do you want to do? And by the way, there is no right or wrong answer to any of this. This video is just kind of me like thinking out loud, to be honest. Decentering men is not about hatred, it's about cherishing yourself. It's about loving yourself better than a man ever could. Because remember, a man can't read your mind. And honestly, I agree with men when they talk about how a lot of times they can't please women. And that is because a lot of women are looking for men to fill a void that that man cannot fill. A man does not know what you're thinking. He doesn't always know when you're tired or when you're emotionally drained or whatever. You know yourself better than anyone else on this earth because you are living in your own body. You are the one who is living in your head. You are the one who goes to sleep with your own thoughts in your head at night. You're the one who knows what you're thinking when you're looking in the mirror. So decentering men is about learning to love yourself. It's about learning to put yourself first, just like how a lot of men put themselves first. And also, before you get married, look at the statistics on marriage, please. For God's sakes, look at the statistics. Look at the statistics on cheating. Look at the statistics on the likelihood of being left if you are sick. Look at the statistics on the amount of 50-50 marriages out there, the amount of marriages where the women are the breadwinners. I'm just saying to make sure that you are completely informed before you dedicate your entire life to someone or center your whole entire life around someone. And also, to be completely honest, I'm no longer a fan of the codependency of marriage, even the language that people use around marriage, two becoming one. Your identity is literally being merged with another person at that point. So even the codependent language that people use, or like it's a union, like you are now unified with that person, or at least that's the idea. But that's all it is, it's just an idea. So just remember to be realistic when you go into a marriage or when you go into any relationship. Just be sure of what you want and make sure that you're getting what you want out of it, as opposed to kind of chasing these dangling carrots that a man might be throwing in front of you, hoping to get chosen, hoping to get married and get your bills paid, or hoping that your sneaky link becomes your boyfriend, or hoping that you can go from the side chick to the main chick. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to chase after those things. I just feel like there are so many different ways to be a woman. There's more than one way to be a woman. Some women are wives. Some women want to be baby mamas. Some women are quote unquote side chicks. Some women are sugar babies. Some women are sex workers. Some women are girlfriends. There are many different ways to be a woman. Some women are celibate. Some women are asexual. Some women are aromantic, meaning they don't feel any romantic feelings for anyone. I've noticed that when it comes to men, there are many different male lifestyles and archetypes that a man can be. He can be the dad, he can be a single dad, he can be a bachelor, he can be the husband, he can be the career man. But for women, I've noticed that the wife and the mother archetype, those ones are the most pedestalized, and those are, in my opinion, the last markers of a patriarchal society. Let's be honest, a lot of men have a hard time understanding a woman's identity outside of sex and childbearing. Like, if you're not a wife or a mother, or if your life is not centered around a man, a lot of men, they don't even know where to place you in their minds. They think it's literally weird, and they'll make fun of it. They'll be like, oh, she's dying alone. Oh my God, she's a cat lady. How dare you be a woman with an actual hobby and something else you love besides a man? The only thing you should be loving is a man or a child. How dare you love animals? You know what I mean? It's just crazy. And by the way, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't have a partner or you shouldn't date. All I'm saying is that having a partner doesn't mean you have to make them the center of your entire life, and having a partner doesn't mean you have to drop your entire life just for their sake. Because we all know that a lot of relationships fail, and sometimes people, they may start off one way and then they may turn out to be another way. So just make sure that you always have your own thing going for yourself as a woman, so that just in case that relationship doesn't work out, you're not sitting around devastated, you're not totally isolated. Make sure that you are fulfilled on your own. There is so much more to life than just stressing over a guy. Because think about it. Let's say you're single and you're not dealing with any guys. That's actually great because guess what? You're not getting cheated on, you're not getting lied to, you're not getting told all of these beautiful words about how, oh, he only has eyes for you, when in reality he's jacking off to other women, he's in other women's Instagram DMs. You don't have to worry about any of that. You get to just focus on yourself. I know that for me, generally speaking, when I look back on my teens and my early 20s, I tended to have higher self esteem when I was single. I've noticed that for me, having bad relationships was directly correlated to depression and anxiety. Anytime that I felt the worst about myself was actually a time when I was in a relationship in my past. So think about that. When were the happiest times in your life? And were you in a relationship or were you single? Just think about that, ladies. And again, I just want to emphasize that this does not mean that I'm saying all men are bad or that you should just completely isolate yourself from men unless you feel like that's the best decision for you. I'm just saying to make sure that you're preserving yourself, make sure that your entire personality is not based on what qualities you can conjure up just to try to attract a man. Make sure that you're just being authentic to yourself. So let's say you don't want kids and you're child free by choice, like me. For me, I don't care if a guy didn't want me because I don't want kids. I don't center my entire personality and the decisions with my body on what a man wants. For me, I also don't believe in having casual sex. I'm just personally not interested in that. I don't care if it means that a man will ghost me or a man is less likely to talk to me. That is my way of decentering men. What's your way of decentering men? Is it by not wearing makeup? Is it by deleting dating apps? Is it by not lowering your standards? Because for me, that's another way that I have decentered men as well. I will not lower my standards. I am no longer dating any guy that I find to be unattractive or ugly or mid-level. No. I'm not lowering any standard in any way. Men will have crazy, astronomical, delusional standards. And they will not budge on those standards. So why should we as women lower our standards? And then a lot of guys will be like, okay, well, you're going to be single and die alone. Okay, well, then I'll be single and die alone, and I will be single and happy and living my best life while dying alone. And also, since a lot of men like statistics so much, men are statistically more likely to die alone, and they are likely to die sooner than their female counterparts. So, how you like them apples? Don't spend your life seeking to just be an accessory to a man. A lot of people wish that we could go back to the 1950s, but if you look at studies on women from the 1950s, a lot of those women were extremely depressed. A lot of them were taking pills just to maintain their mental health because they had nothing else going for them outside of the men in their lives. And the men back then knew this, and this is why men were able to get away with abusing these women because those women had nowhere to go. So just think about that. I mean, what do you ladies think? Have you ever centered men in your life? I know that I have, for decades actually. Oh, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.